Freaky Tales by executive producer Too Short. It's almost as fun as it sounds. Freaky Tales is an anthology film, a collection of 4 stories that take place in 1987 Oakland, California. And after Kinds of Kindness, I needed another one of these. Unfortunately, from a narrative standpoint, it falls short of being as good as Kinds of Kindness. Chapter 1, The Gilman Strikes Back. And this story takes inspiration from real-life events. The Gilman, also known as the Alternative Music Foundation, a music venue with a history of anti-racist, anti-fascist punk culture that ended up in confrontations between the DIY punk community and neo-Nazis between the 1980s and 1990s. But this story doesn't bog anything down with a history lesson or anything preachy. Starring Jack Champion, weird name, from Scary Movie New York, and Ji Young Yo from, I believe that's how you pronounce that, but I guess she's in the Until Dawn movie as well, which I haven't seen yet. I'm trying to keep up, but I am not hearing good things about that. But this story gives you exactly what you want to see. Nazis getting their asses kicked.
Get ready to die, Nazis!
Yeah! And that rumble goes full Scott Pilgrim. It's definitely my second favorite story of the 4. It's something resembling The Green Room, just less plot heavy, less dramatic, and a lot more fun. Unfortunately, I can't say much about Chapter 2. Don't Fight the Feeling. The story of 2 young female hip-hop artists navigating the music scene. And one of them is Normani. You know, a little motivation. I'm sorry, I don't know her from anything else except that one, Cardi B song. And while the story was entertaining, giving us a very brief rap battle between the 2 girls, Danger Zone, and a younger Too Short, the only other thing this story gave us, in terms of the narrative, was introduced the character Guy, played by Ben Mendelsohn. And while he is a bigger part of the story, he could have been introduced in any other way. Even the ending of the story was kind of forced just to tie them into the rest of the film. What I do find somewhat interesting are the psychic classes that keep coming up in this specific chapter. While they appear throughout the rest of the film, it's specifically focused on here. And when Normani's character doubts herself and her abilities in hip-hop, the book by Don Miguel Ruiz, The 4 Agreements, came to mind. The 4 agreements being, be impactful with your words. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. But the film takes place in 1987 and the book was published in 1997. But I couldn't find anything to prove that there's a connection there, so it's probably in my head. Okay, so just after I thought I finished recording this audio, I learned that the 2 girls, Danger Zone, was a real rap duo. And the song they perform in the film is a real track. So it seems like Too Short just wanted to pay homage to these 2 women. Unfortunately, it makes the rest of the movie kind of clunky. But full respect to Too Short for the tribute. Chapter 3, Born to Mac. Pedro Pascal plays a hitman at the end of his rope after a personal tragedy, and after realizing he has something left to live for, abandons his plans of a last hurrah, just to end up at the wrong place at the wrong time. With some light comedic elements, some intense dramatic scenes, and the tortured soul of our main protagonist, this felt like it could have been its own full-length movie. It even felt like the last story, something out of Pulp Fiction, with some admittedly corny, cryptic dialogue. But they're pulling that from 1970s crime noir films, and it fits very well in the specific story and carries on into the next one, which put a smile on my face every time Pedro Pascal opened his mouth. Unfortunately, as I was getting invested, the story ends so unfortunately abrupt, it nearly tanked my enjoyment. But then Chapter 4, The Legend of Sleepy Floyd. In the 1987 Western Conference semifinals between the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers, NBA legend Sleepy Floyd scored a remarkable 29 points in the 3rd quarter, setting an NBA playoff record for most points scored in a single quarter. He was then dubbed Superman by one of the broadcasters, and this one goes full balls to the wall. And if you could imagine a sports drama mixed with a 1970s Bruce Lee kung fu flick, and narrated like a 90s hood movie, it's so out of left field. It almost makes up for Chapter 3 and fills in some gaps, but there's still a lot missing, and that story needs to be its own film, in my opinion. And I don't want to tell you anything else about Chapter 4. Just know this is one of the most satisfying climaxes in a film I've ever experienced, and is just so much fun. It ties all the other stories, almost all the other stories together. The girls from chapter 2 are still there, but it's still so forced. That story didn't need to be in here. But this is an excellent turn your brain off movie. And that last story was so worth it, in my opinion. On a numerical rating system, which is usually what I do, it's really hard to rate anthology films. So I'm going to give 2025's Freaky Tales a worth it. And if you've seen this movie, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.